So look, overall, I don't care how much the Bucks won by last night. It's one game, and I feel like this is something we forget. Now, it's a little bit different this year because you're dealing with the number 8 seed Heat, who they earned that 8 seed. Like, that's what they were this year against the number 1 seed. It's been a really long time since the Heat have been an 8 seed. I mean, when's the last time the Heat were an 8 seed? Yeah, they weren't in 2010 against the Celtics. I think the Heat were a 6 seed that year. They certainly weren't the year before against Atlanta. I think they were the 5 seed that year. When's the last time the Heat were an 8 seed? I mean, is it possible? The Heat were a 4 seed in 2004, back in black after missing the playoffs for a couple years, and they lost to the Pacers in the second round. The Heat were the 4 seed that year, beat the Hornets in the first round. The last time the Heat were an 8 seed, wow. They certainly weren't. They weren't an 8 seed when they lost to the Hornets in 2001, 98, 99, 2000 when they lost to the Knicks. They were never an 8 seed there. When's the last time the Heat were an 8 seed? They weren't the 8 seed when they lost to the Bucks in 2021. They may have been like the 7 seed, you know? Wow, I don't remember. So, I mean, do we have to go back to the 90s last time the Heat were an 8 seed? You have to go back that long? I feel stupid. Like, am I forgetting a time in between? Anyway, whatever. You can always hit me up at ZASLOW Show on Twitter, at ZASLOWJ on Instagram. The point is, it's been a long time since the Heat were an 8 seed, and like you're this kind of playoff team, the Heat are, and you're playing the number 1 seed. It's been a really long time. Played a 1 seed many times, but not in the first round. It's been a really long time. And the Heat got exactly what they went to Milwaukee for. So again, the Panther win last night helps in a big way as far as how I feel. But the Heat stole the home court. Saturday night's going to be a lot of fun. Playoffs are hard, man. Playoffs are, don't forget about that part. Playoffs are super hard. And yeah, got our shit kicked in last night. Gonna be okay. Saturday night's still gonna be a hell of a lot of fun. And you know what? No matter what happens on Saturday, Monday night is gonna be a hell of a lot of fun. The Heat have 2 chances here. They essentially have 2 chances to win 1 game. If the Heat win one of these next 2 games, both are at home, you got a long series at hand. You're guaranteed then a game 6 at home to force a game 7 or close the series out. So do you believe the Heat can win one of the next 2 games, both games at home? Yeah, I totally believe that. And they also have an opportunity to win 2 home games right now and take a stranglehold on the series. But here's the thing. And that's not going to happen because last night proved it to you. You know, like, we've been hoping that things would eventually come together in the playoffs, right? What we saw in the regular season, they're going to get their act together come playoff time. Last night was a major missed opportunity with Giannis out. Look, to go to Milwaukee and go up 2-0 against the number 1 seed was crazy to begin with. But without Giannis last night, all right, you got an opportunity in front of yourself. An opportunity has presented yourself here. And guess what? Like all year long, the Heat were presented with an opportunity and they did not take advantage. Like last night was exactly what this Heat team has been doing all year long, especially the second part of the season when you had a chance to catch potentially number 6. I mean, think how different it would be if you were number 6 and you're playing Philadelphia in the first round instead of playing Milwaukee. You had an opportunity maybe even to jump up to number 5 and catch the Knicks. I mean, the Heat, remember, they beat the Knicks that one game on a Wednesday. Next up is Saturday against Brooklyn at home. And if you win that game, you got a real shot of not just catching Brooklyn number 6, but New York at number 5. And Brooklyn won the game by like 30. The Heat, last night, just like other times this season, were presented with an opportunity, and they blew it! I mean, it's happened several times this season. So, last night was this season in a microcosm, essentially. The Heat were given an opportunity, and they blew it. All right. And that's why also, like, they're not going to win both games in Miami. They're presented with a great opportunity. They're not going to take advantage of it. They haven't been doing that all year. But do I think they'll get at least one of the games here in Miami? Yeah, I do. And now you're going to have a long series then if that's the case. So the question then becomes, do you stick with Duncan Robinson in the starting lineup? I mean, he didn't, foul trouble always. He leaves the game in the middle of the first quarter. I do, and I wanted them to start Duncan. You know that. We did a poll question, and they went with Duncan. I thought it made sense. And Duncan hit a bunch of threes. I think he had 3 threes, 3 or 4 of them late in the game. Garbage time. That's important, actually, because you want him to see the ball go through the net a few times, and maybe you get some carryover. That's one of those cases where you want to play through the garbage time because it could be impactful for the next game. So that was a good thing. Oladipo had a good game off the bench. Do you then try Oladipo out for game 3? I wouldn't quite go there. I would still go, the coach made a decision to go with Robinson in game 2. To bail on it there was a reason why he went with Robinson in game 2. I would go with it again in game 3. And if it doesn't work there, then I go Oladipo game 4. I would give Robinson another crack. Now, I know they were saying Jimmy Butler was holding his knee on the bench after the play with Jay Crowder. I don't think that looked like that big. I think he's fine, unless I didn't see something that, said otherwise. So, are Heat fans mad at Jay Crowder? Probably, right? Doesn't matter that he played for us in 2020. Heat fans are mad, right? So, Jimmy gets a rebound. He's about to go up for a shot right into the basket. Jay Crowder's on the ground, grabs his leg, and Jimmy may have tweaked something in his knee, right? They gave him a flagrant foul. I got to be honest with you, okay? I don't have a problem with Jay Crowder, what he did there. And when I say I don't have a problem with it, I mean, I wish he didn't do that, but I don't think it's a dirty play. It's not the same thing as the Sabonis Draymond Green play. And you see that all the time where guys are tangled up, grabs his leg from behind, doesn't let him run up the court. That's not what happened last night. That's not the same thing. I don't have that. I really don't have an issue with what Jay Crowder did. Jay Crowder was trying to keep Jimmy Butler from scoring there. Jay Crowder's on the ground. Jimmy Butler's going to go up for a bunny, and he's trying to stop him. So he grabs onto him, grabs onto his leg, doesn't want to let him. He's good with picking up a foul, send him to the free throw line. He doesn't want to just let him have a bunny. And they called a flagrant foul. Okay. Unnecessary contact. Well, the contact was actually necessary to stop Jimmy from scoring a bunny. I don't have an issue with the play. I hope Jimmy's all right. But that's not one of those, oh my God, such a dirty play. No, when you grab the guy's leg in the backcourt as he's running up the floor and you're trying to hold him because you're on the ground and you're not going to be able to get back on defense, and also he's running the opposite direction, so it's really dangerous to grab him like that, that's a very dirty play. What Jay Crowder did there last night, I don't think had any dirty intent to it. I think he's trying to stop Jimmy Butler from scoring a bunny. So they gave it a flagrant foul. I'm not up in arms about it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So game 3, Saturday night, 7:30, downtown Miami. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Shake that shit off. The reality of it is, if someone would, it doesn't matter if they won by 3 or won by 100. If someone told you before the first 2 games, and with Tyler Hero out with a broken hand, you're going to be 1-1 after the first 2 games coming now down to Miami. How do you feel about that? You're so happy. So remember that. Last night, it's over with. Over and done with. Now, the Panthers. What a night. What a night from your favorite little hockey team. Scoreless after 1 period. I'm like, all right, good. Scoreless. My son's like, that's not good. I'm like, yeah, it is good. They're in the game. They skated with them in game 1. They were better for most of the game. And now after 1 period, which, by the way, first 10 minutes were kind of shaky. I thought Boston really controlled the first 10 minutes of the game. But I was like, all right. Then I thought the Panthers got their act together the last 10 minutes. Amazing save by Linus Ullmark. He's the goalie for Boston, amazing save on Barkov, who had a breakaway. Looked like he got tripped up, but Barkov still had a chance to poke it in. Amazing save. We go to the first intermission, 0-0. Okay. Early in the second period, Panthers take Sam Bennett back in the lineup. Sam Bennett gives the Panthers the lead. They're up 1-0. And then, let me tell you something. I hope Paul Maurice benches Anthony Duclair game 3. I don't need to see Anthony Duclair again. He has been absolutely useless since returning. He's like, he was a soft as hell playoff player last year for the Panthers. And I would imagine Paul Maurice's system and this, tougher, more physical style, he is not for this team. He's not a playoff player, Anthony Duclair. He has been useless since returning, with like 10 games left in the season, right? Last night, and we told you this. The Panthers played a good game 3. Game 3. Panthers played a good game 1. Really good. But you have to be perfect to beat this Bruins team. And they were not perfect. There were mistakes. Anthony Duclair, with the Panthers on the power play, up 1-0, a chance here to take control of the game. In their own zone, Duclair, with a perfect feed to Brad Marchand to score on the Panther power play. The only problem is Marchand plays for the Bruins, and that was a shorthanded goal. What the fuck is Anthony Duclair doing out there? I would sit him game 3. I wouldn't play him. I don't need to see him again. It's not quite as bad as Mackenzie Weegar. You know what you did, Mackenzie Weegar. But if the Panthers would have lost that game last night, I'll put it straight on Anthony Duclair's shoulders. He sucks. He sucks. So 1-1 there. But the Panthers, guess what? They take back the lead later in the second period. They go up 2-1. You get the goal from, who is that second goal? Oh, Eric Stahl. Right up the slot. Buries it past Allmark. Hell yeah. Go up 2-1. Then 2-2. Bruins score on the power play. What are you going to do? So 2-2 there after 2 periods. All right. It's not going to be easy. Like 30 seconds into the third period, Brandon Montour rips one past Allmark. 3-2 Panthers. Verhaeghe, like in the middle of the period, like 7 minutes into the third period, Verhaeghe, he cashes in. He gets his first goal of the series. 4-2 Panthers. Hell yeah. And then you get Brandon Montour again rifling it past them. 5-2. Punking the Bruins so hard in their building. You get an empty netter from Lois Serene in 6-2. Late goal for Boston. Taylor Hall, 6-3. Panthers punk the Bruins so hard in their building. 6-3. Kick their ass in the third period. I love it. It is on now. And that third period was super physical, super chippy. We had fighting. You had guys getting 10-game misconducts. Homeboy who elbowed Eric Stahl in the head and got the misconduct. I would say he's going to be suspended for game number 3. So, all kinds of fighting, scrums, dirty hits on Ekblad, and the Panthers were game to all of it. They were super physical. They were aggressive. Ekblad getting down, blocking shots. He hurt his foot. He ended up being just fine. But that's the type of stuff that we missed last year. You remember that series against the Lightning where it was, man, their defensemen get down and block all kinds of shots. Panthers don't do shit like that. Soft as hell. We're seeing that now. It's 1-1. They're still playing an all-time great Boston Bruin team. But is it possible that Paul Maurice, what he has been stressing to this group the entire year, that we're finally starting to see it? Is that possible? Because I'll tell you, honestly, Panthers played a phenomenal game last night. Punked the Bruins so hard in the third period. Punked them so hard, the crowd was leaving with 7 minutes left in the game. They were booing. They were booing their Bruins in the third period. They were booing them, I believe, when it was 3-2. I know the Bruins are the number 1 seed. President's Trophy, all-time most wins 65. In a 1-goal game, you're booing your team, you're white trash. That's white tea. There's no other way to look at it. That's white trash. And then you get the Bruin fan leaving with 7 minutes left. I thought they only do that in Miami. It's a playoff game. There's 7 minutes remaining. You're leaving? I thought that's fair weather fan shit. I didn't realize Boston's fair weather fans. And now I know. I got the memo last night. Punked them so hard. And back to the point I was making about last year's team. Honestly, I have no problem raising my hand telling you when I'm wrong. I love being right. But I'll tell you when I'm wrong. And honestly, I'm not sure last year's team wins that game last night. I'm not sure they win that game last night. The physicality, the toughness, the grit. They played grimy as hell last night, the Panthers. The defense blocking the shots. Coming back after losing that first game. I don't know if the Panthers last year win that game. I'm so proud of them. What a phenomenal game they played last night. Pumped their ass so hard. You know, the Panthers, when you go against Tampa Bay 2 years ago, Panthers went down, you had to win after that first game. They went down 2-0. They ended up winning game 3. They went back down 3-1. Then last year against Tampa, they get swept. You know, you got to win that game too. You can't go down 2-0. The Panthers, the last 2 postseasons, when they've been trailing in the series, they have not responded. This team last night, I think they're different. Now it's still going to be it's going to be hard as hell to win this series. Still a massive underdog. But I don't think last year's team wins that game last night. And this year's team, after they were in control of game 1 and then they're down 2-0. That could deflate you. No, they kept fighting. Made it 2-1. And they really outplayed them in game 1. Even after going down 2-0. 2-0. And last night, they're outplaying them again. It's 1-0, 1-1. Okay. 2-1, 2-2. Okay. 3-2, 4-2. And trailing the series 1-0. They've kept coming these first 2 games. I don't think last year's team wins that game. Really proud of them. Really, really proud of them last night. And look, it's going to go one of 2 ways in game 3 now, right? First of all, I got to tell you guys, one of our sponsors on ZASLOW Show 2.0, Brunt Insurance, you know what the weather's been like. All right, last week, you may need to do some repairs. There may be some stuff, there may be some damage. I don't know what you got going on. Are you insured? Are you covered? Well, if you're not, or maybe you don't like your coverage, now's the time to get after it, all right? BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. I've had my homeowner's insurance through Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance for about 10 years now. So I know I'm covered, man. God forbid something happens to my home. I'm not going to be out on the streets. I'm going to be able to have it taken care of. Do you have flood insurance? Hey, there was so much flooding last week. Whatever you need, you're going to call Brunt Insurance at 954-589-2204. You can't just go out there and do it on your own. The market's confusing. You may not know everything that you actually need. Well, Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, they know exactly what you need because they know whatever area you're calling from. They're covering you from Pensacola to the Keys and beyond. That's right, Brunt Insurance, comprehensive insurance tailored exactly to your needs. Since 2013, they've been specializing in home, auto, life insurance. Hey, maybe you don't own your home. Renter's insurance, condo insurance, your boat, your motorcycle, your car. If you're looking for that affordable care that offers the best coverage, Brunt Insurance. I'm not telling you about an insurance agency that I don't use. I've been using Brunt Insurance for almost 10 years now. If I need to talk to Greg straight up, face to face, I call him at 954-589-2204. I'll get Greg on the phone right away. I got a question I'm going to ask him. He's not going to hide from me. Bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. So you're going to get one of two responses now from the Bruins in Game 3. Game 3 tomorrow night here in Sunrise. Crazy crowd. Look out. You're going to get one of two responses. Either you're going to get a big response, which is what I expect. They're a great team. 65 wins. I think you're going to get a big, now it doesn't mean they're going to win, but I think you're going to get a big response from Boston in Game 3. That's why the start of Game 3 is so important. Because if the Panthers can jump on them early, then you're going to get a lot of that doubt. Then they're going to get tight. Then it's, holy shit, President's Trophy? Could we lose in the first round? President's Trophy curse? You heard we had Greg Wyshynski, ESPN senior NHL writer on ZASLOW Show 2.0 yesterday. Go back and listen. He was in Boston last night covering the game. This President's Trophy, it's a curse, apparently. If the Panthers jump on them early tomorrow, they're going to start doubting themselves. You're going to get a lot of pressure. Last night was awesome, man. And the third period especially looked exactly like what playoff hockey is supposed to look like. These teams already hate each other. They've only played one other time in the postseason. It's back in 1996. Panthers won in 5 games. Billy Lindsay, great goal. Schooled Ray Bork, Hall of Famer. So tomorrow night, Game 3. I would be there if I wasn't out of town. I got business in New York. I'm about to get on a plane. You guys know that. All right. Since you guys know that, let me first tell you how you get ready for Game 3. And that's, of course, with a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba. Johnny Cuba is the official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. European roots of the Caribbean soul. If you don't know about Johnny Cuba yet, we're talking a refreshing German lager in a can. Pick up a 6-pack. Don't even take my word for it. Try and prove me a liar at how delicious Johnny Cuba is. Go pick up a 6-pack of your own. Your local Sedanos, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. You can bring it back to your home because you always want to drink responsibly. Right there, enjoy some NBA playoffs, some Stanley Cup playoffs with a 6-pack of Johnny. You take a picture making that first pour, and then you're going to taste it so delicious. You'll send me a picture on Instagram. I'm an influencer, and then I'll post it on my Instagram. I love when you guys do that. My man Juan at Johnny Cuba, he loves when you do that. And of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. Let's get to big deal or not a big deal. Big deal or not a big deal, always brought to us by Water Cleanup of Florida. You got water mold or fire damage? Might be a big deal. Might not be a big deal. But you'll find out when you call Water Cleanup of Florida. 954-900-8635. Big deal or not a big deal? So last night, Memphis Grizzlies smoked the Lakers. Even that series at 1 game apiece. Dillon Brooks, post-game, straight up saying he's not afraid of LeBron. He doesn't respect LeBron. He doesn't respect anyone until they put up 40 on him. LeBron's old. I don't respect him. Okay. This is a big deal because I want to see the response from LeBron. You know, this is one of those things where when we talk about Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, the thing that I always go back to is, and part of it is because I was a kid, but anytime my team, the Heat, were playing Michael Jordan, I was always scared. I never thought Michael Jordan was going to lose. He was always going to win. I was scared of him. I've never felt that way about LeBron. I've never been scared of LeBron. I've never felt that he's always going to win. And Dillon Brooks, or the equivalent of Derek Brooks, Dillon Brooks, would have never said anything like that about Michael Jordan. And guys will say it about LeBron. Not many of them, but some, clearly. No one ever talked like that about Jordan. I'm interested in what LeBron's response, not verbally, I'm interested in what his response on the floor is going to be. That's a big deal. Big deal or not a big deal? Max Scherzer yesterday for the New York Mets, he's about to get an automatic 10-game suspension. He was ejected. He had the sticky stuff on his hand. His hand that was in the glove, he put up a big dispute. He swore on his kids that it's from the rosin bag, and it's not even on his pitching hand. The umpires, they didn't care. They said the stuff, though, it was so sticky that their hand stuck to his hand when they touched it, and it was on their hand for the next couple of innings. He's going to get suspended for 10 games. He can appeal. I'm going big deal. And now you're branded a cheater. That's a big deal. Finally, got one more for you here. Big deal or not a big deal? Apparently, this was not just in the ZASLOW mansion this morning. At 4:45 a.m., the entire state of Florida, seems, had an emergency system test on their phones. You know, you get the really loud beep, beep, beep on our phones. All happens at the same time at 4:45 a.m. It happened to all of us. Now, I happen to be awake. I had to get up very early this morning. But come on, that's a big deal. I want an apology from the state of Florida. And that right there is an abridged version. A big deal or not a big deal. Brought to us by Water Cleanup of Florida. Let them tell you if you're leak, if you're damaged, if you're mold, if that's a big deal or not a big deal. 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida. They'll tell you if it's a big deal or not a big deal. All right, that's going to do it for today. I know the show was a little bit shorter today than normal, but I told you, we're going to get the show in before I had to leave. I got to go to New York now. Will I go to the Sixers-Nets game tonight, Game 3? Can the Ticket Ninja pull a move? I don't know. We'll see. That's in the future. Again, I can't tell the future. You may know. You may be listening to the show later today, and you know that I'm at the game. Right now, as I'm recording this, I don't know if I'm going or not. Anyway, we got a monster weekend. Friday, Panthers. Saturday, Heat. Sunday, Panthers. Monday, Heat. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks to everybody who listens to the show. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that fun stuff. Thanks to everybody who helped put together a great show today. We'll talk to you on ZASLOW Show 2.0 on Monday. You know what that means.